Rob Barlow here, Whitewater Gun Dogs. We're going to go through a little brief video of my forcing program. So here we got Dahlia. She's out of our Matty Hawk dog. If you watched our videos, you've seen her up on the table almost a year ago, and we were working on hold. And as I've said throughout all my videos, I don't force my dogs until they're 15, 16, 17, 18 months old. She's 19 months old, little on the soft side, so we give her another month. She's gone through her forcing. She's gone through all this stuff and doing really well. I'm not going to show you the initial forcing where we do the toe pull and switch to the collar. She's pretty sensitive about that, and I don't need to back her up and put her through that again. But we're going to show you how, once we get through off this part and going down the table, we're going to show you what we're doing with the collar. So my collar, level 1, always, for this dog anyway, we're going to fetch in the stationary where she's sitting off the table. We're going to teach her how to run down the table. Everything, all of our table work. Once we get done with that, we're going to show you some groundwork here, and then we're going to go out and do what I call my heel fetch drills. So let's get started here. Sound box is on so you can hear the stimulation. Fetch, fetch, fetch. Good. Okay, so that's medium 1. Fetch. Good girl. Good. Fetch. Good. Good. Up. Fetch. Good job. Good. Fetch. Good. Fetch. Okay, so you can see from that position, picking it up off the table. Now we're going to teach her to run down the table, move down the table. So as you can see, I got a 16-foot table. So I teach this. I'd rather have a 24, but this is all the room I got. But I teach them to move down the table. Forward momentum is what we're doing here. And let's just stop for a minute. And I don't force my dogs to retrieve. A forced retrieve is ridiculous as far as I'm concerned, unless you're running pointers that don't retrieve. If you got a dog that retrieves, you don't need to force them to retrieve. What we're doing is teaching her how to shut pressure off, how to move away from pressure, how to shut the pressure off, forward momentum, speed, the whole deal. That's my forcing program. It isn't forced to retrieve. If you got a well-bred spaniel, there's no reason to force to retrieve. Can you force a dog to retrieve? Absolutely, but you don't need to if they retrieve. So here, fetch, 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 fetch. Good girl. Fetch. Good girl. Good. So we're teaching her to move down the table. Good girl. Good. Fetch, fetch. Good girl. Good. Oop. Gotta hang on to it. Fetch. Good girl. Good. Good girl. Good. Fetch, fetch. Good. Gotta hang on to it. Good girl. Good. Fetch, fetch. Good. Okay. I'll spend a day or two just teaching them this, getting them used to moving down the table, moving down the table. So then we go to, from that we go to this. Hop, hop, fetch. Good girl. Hop. Good. Hop. Good. Come on. Hop. Good. Hop. Good. Fetch. Good. Come on, fetch. Good job. Good job. Fetch. Good. Come on, let's go. Woo, woo. Here, here. Good. Good girl. Hop. So as you can see, I walked out, put the bumper there, stood there, forced her to the bumper, moved the bumper, stood there, forced her to the bumper. So now we're going to do just the opposite. We're going to put this here. Now we're going to walk back here. So now we're going to teach her to shut the pressure off. As soon as she starts moving, the pressure stops. So we're going to say fetch. Good. So she just shut the pressure off. Hop. Hop. Moving away from pressure. Good. Fetch. Good. Woo. Good job. Good. Hop. Moving away from pressure. Good job. So this next little step is we're going to show here. Hop, hop. See, she wants to go. We're going to show you how to build speed. So, theoretically, we're giving her pressure. She's moving away from pressure. But because I have a multiple level collar or transmitter, we're going to hit her with a medium. This has all been medium 1, by the way. So we're going to hit her with medium 1, and just before she gets to the bumper, I'm going to say fetch again, and it's going to be lower stimulation with the low 1. Fetch. Fetch. Good. Fetch. Good. Here. Got to hang on to it. Got to hang on to it. Hop. Good. Hop. We'll do that again. So what we're doing is giving her higher pressure here, lower pressure as she gets to it, so it makes her feel like she's moving away from the pressure. And that's what, once we get this one, and we'll go to intermittent stimulation, where we'll get the stimulation just before she picks it up. We're teaching her if she moves fast enough down the table, she could shut the pressure off or even beat the pressure. Fetch. Fetch. Good. Good job. Good. Okay. Hop. Good. Hop. Hop. Again, this is all low. I mean, super low. I mean, I don't believe in a lot of pressure, especially with a spaniel. You give a spaniel too much e-collar pressure, their little brain freezes up, and the only way you can unfreeze it is by giving them more pressure. So I don't do that. Fetch. Fetch. Woo! Good job. Good job. So she didn't get any pressure till just before she reached the bumper. So she beat the pressure. She beat the pressure. This becomes a game. Fetch. Good girl. You tail wagging. Good. Hop, hop. Good. Hop. Good. Good. Fetch. Woo! No stimulation. She beat the pressure. Hop. Hop. Good girl. Good. Fetch. All right. No stimulation. She beat the pressure again. Good girl. Hop. Good. Hop. Hop. Fetch. All right, she got a little bit of pressure. She wasn't quite fast enough. Good girl. Good. So that's how we build speed and forward momentum. Now we're going to go through a little drill I call what works into the heel fetch drill, where we're going to after this. And this drill, once you get it on the ground, teaches them how to shut the pressure off, how to move away from pressure, etc. Oh, you got to come here. I know. Up. Good. So Dahlia, this is roughly 3 weeks. You know, from start to where we're going to be at the end of this session here. So this is heel fetch. We teach it on the table. Good. Here. Heel fetch. Good. Up. Good. Heel fetch. Good. Moves away from pressure. Moves away from pressure. Okay, free one. See how that works? Good. Come on. Then we're going to go back the other way. We're going to change the direction. Fetch. Good. Good girl. Go up. Good. Yeah. Thoroughly forced. This is what we want. Something in the mouth. Shuts the pressure off. Fetch. Good. Up. Good. Up. Good. Fetch. Good. Okay. So, again, start to finish, she was probably 4 days at the stationary table, conditioner to the collar, and she's been moving forward ever since. So what we're going to do now is, most of these dogs will do it on the table. But it's just like a horse. When you teach a horse how to do something on the right side, then you got to teach them how to do it on the left side. Because there's two different brains within the one brain. Dogs are the same, kind of the same way. Not as bad, but kind of the same way. They can do it up here, but now when we change their environment down to here, they got to learn to do it over. It goes a lot faster, but still, you need to take that time. Here. So what I do, so we're done. Kennel. Whew. Good girl. Kennel. All right, good job. All right, up. Up. Good. Good. So same thing, on the ground, fetch, good, good, fetch, good girl, good, fetch, good girl, fetch, good girl, heel, up, good, fetch, woo, good girl, heel, good, up, fetch, good job, good, fetch, good, all right, kennel, okay, kennel, kennel, oh, no, no, here, come here, here, fetch, good, kennel, oh, gotta hang on to it, all right, fetch, good job, good job. So, we did that on the table, did it on the ground, we're gonna do a little heel fetch on the floor here, good girl, fetch, fetch, good, you want to join me, huh, come here, 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 hop, hop, hop. We'll do this at the end of each session, towards the end, probably a couple days, and then we move off. Then we move off the table. Same thing, fetch. Good, hop. So if you've seen our earlier videos of heel here drills and wagon wheels, she knows this. If you're not doing that, then you're going to have your spaniels come up and sit in front of you to deliver, and then you got to mess around with it. So all that work has been done prior to this. Fetch, fetch, good, fetch, 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 good job, good, fetch, good, good, heel, fetch, good girl, good, throw the bumpers behind, heel, fetch, good, heel, good, heel, fetch, heel, good, fetch, good, hop, good, good girl, kennel. Another thing that I like to do when they're on the table, we'll just spend a couple moments with this, is once we get them here, here, heel, hop, hop, fetch, good, here, yeah, huh. No, hop, that you can't, that's a little hard one for you. I don't want you to mess with that. Okay. Fetch. Okay. Good. So when we get done with the heel fetch drills, we're going to move her into force to the pile. So while we got her on the table, we're going to introduce force to the pile. This is why I like a 24-foot table versus a 16, but it's what we got. That's what we're going to make it work. Good, good. Hop. Fetch. Good. Here. Good. Here, here, here. Good. Fetch. Here, here, here. Sit. Good. So the reason I do this is, again, forward momentum, building speed, shutting off pressure, because she'll go into the force of the pile, and then she'll work on her handling, you know, left and rights and overs and etc. But unless you teach them this pile work early, when you get out in the field, then you're going to have a big fight, and it's just easier just to do this on the table. Fetch. Here. Good. Good. Fetch. Good. 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 Here. Here. So most dogs will go down there if they see you throw it or you see you put it down there. Now we're taking that away from them, and you just got to go down there because I told you to. Fetch. Woo. Good job. Okay. Good. That's good enough for you. Let's go out and play big dog stuff. Good job. Okay, okay. Good enough. So here we're going to move out here. We're going to do what I call a heel fetch. Some people call it ladder drills, call it whatever you want. But what we got is 10 bumpers spread out here at 10 paces apart each. And we're going to walk up here, heel, fetch, heel, fetch, heel, fetch. She's going to learn to move. This is her 5th day on this. And what I try to do is 5 days of 40 reps. So she's going to go down and back and down and back, and that's 40 reps. And she's going to get that 5 days in a row, so that's 200 reps. Once she gets that, most of the dogs, once they get that far along, then we can go to we can set them up, teach them to back pile, force to the pile, and move on with their training. The table stuff with her is done. We just put her on the table to show you where we're at and how we're kind of moving things along. So when we start this, so you seen we do this on the table. So when we start this, we got the bumpers all out here, and you'll notice that I have 3 different kinds of bumpers. I got these bumpers, I got some Dawkins, and I got my Bumper Boy bumpers. So she's learning to pick up multiple objects. We could take this one step farther and put some frozen pigeons out there, or semi-frozen pigeons, and do the same thing. But she retrieves. She's had hundreds of birds shot and retrieved for her, so I'm not really worried about that with her. So we toss that out. Heel, fetch. Good. Pressure's on until she picks it up. Throw it behind you. Heel. Good. Fetch. New bumper. Come on, fetch. 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 Good. Good girl. New bumper. Heel. Good. Good. Fetch. Okay. Fetch. Good. She's got to hold it. So you also should have noticed that as soon as she started moving away from me, the pressure stopped. Heel. Heel. Fetch. 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 Good. Good girl. Good. Good. So different bumpers, even got some feathers on it. Little texture difference. Come on. Heel. Good. Heel. Fetch. Fetch. Good. Good. Not quite fast enough. Not quite fast enough. Good girl. Come on. Heel. Good. Fetch. Woo. Good. Good job. Good. 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 And you can see that finished retrieve, how that really helps doing this. You know, if she was just doing the typical spaniel stuff, she'd come in, sit in front of you, and then you got to get her spun around. That little drill we did a couple weeks ago is paid off tenfold with this setup. Yeah. No pressure. Fetch. Good. Here. Good. Good job. Good. Heel. Up. Just get that off your leg. Good. Good. Heel. Fetch. Good. 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 Heel. Good job, huh? Good girl. Good. Fetch. Okay, that was low 1. Fetch. Good job. Good. Good. And you can see this little drill will really help you with clean up your deliveries. Fetch. Good. Good. Fetch. Come on. You got to hang on to it. Yeah. As you can see, that's what we're working on with her. Fetch. Good. Here. Good job. Heel. Fetch. Good. All right. Come on. Good. Fetch. Okay. So you can see her fetch. Come on. You can see her start pulling away, going towards the bumper. She's trying to shut the pressure off before we even get to it, which is perfect. Good. Fetch. Fetch. Good. Heel. Good. That's better. There you go. Good job. Good. 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 Heel. Heel. Fetch. Woo! Good job. Good job. All right. Good girl. Come on. Good girl. Good. Fetch. All right. Good. 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 No pressure. Good. Good. Anticipation though. She's moving. She's trying to figure it out. Fetch. Good. Here. Good. Good job. Good. Heel. Okay, we got a couple different ones coming up here now. Good. Fetch. Good. That's better. Good job. Good job. Good. Heel. Heel. Good. Good. Fetch. Good. Heel. Good girl. Look at that. Fetch. Hold that. Good. There you go. That's pretty good. Heel. Good girl. Fetch. Good. There you go. Good. Good job. Good job. Heel. Fetch. Good. Heel. Hop. There you go. Good. Good. Hop. Okay. So that's enough for the video. But we're going to run her through here, down and back one more time. But you get the idea of what we're doing. Like I said, 40 reps for 5 days. You might skip a day or two in between, you know, which is fine, but you're going to go back to it. She's just going to get, before you move on to anything else, she's going to get this for 5 days. We're also running her in the field on birds and keeping her pattern work up and bird drive up. So you don't have to just focus on this, the forcing. You can keep working them. So some people don't. I mean, if you got a delivery problem or a mouth problem or whatever you got, you may want to finish this up before you put them back in the field, but she doesn't. She's just been really easy. But you know, like I said, she's going to be 20 months old here in another week or two, and we put off this program because of her temperament. I don't, you know, I've said it along, I don't think this spaniels can take that kind of pressure at a younger age, and we just don't do it. We move through. I mean, we're 3 weeks from start to finish. We're going to be finished with this. Well, we're going to be finished with this at the end of the day, and she's moving on to force the pile. So, I mean, you can't ask any more than that. I mean, if we put her on the table at 6 or 7 or 8 months, we may have dug a hole in and we couldn't get out, you know. I had her on the table at 7 or 8 months old and just to work on her hold, and it was not easy. You know, she wanted to shut down. Her little brain wanted to shut down. Now she's mature enough and she just does it. So, watch it. You know, got any questions or comments, please make them. Have a good day.